This time on Woody's Garage. Get ready for a long and boring sprocket adventure. It's boring.
Well, today we're looking at my Broncco El Diablo mini bike, which is pretty far from stock. It had like a motorcycle engine in it, like 70cc, 4 or 5 speed, and that engine's long gone. I stuck in this Tecumseh, why do I say that? And I tried to work out a drive system that I thought would work on it. It has just a clutch. Hang on a second, let me pull off this cover. And what you see is a clutch in this big old gear here. I think that's like 32 teeth or something. And then a jack shaft I made in there. And although it sounds like nice and smooth, when you try to run it, it feels like everything's fighting each other. I'm thinking maybe this gear is just where it is. It's too big. I put that there to get the gear ratio right, and that is my biggest problem with this bike. And actually, focusing on what the biggest problem is I think that rear sprocket, it's too tiny. I'd like to put a 60 tooth on it and then try to figure it out from there. Okay. Hey, we got it out with the brakes staying there. I'll have to undo that crappy cable. Okay, so I already loosened these up. These are 10mm bolts that hold this little plate on here. Plate comes off. Like I was saying, plate comes off. Yeah, there it is. And the sprocket comes off. And it's got these nubs right here. And it has these things too, which have to be cleared. So I mean, this was one idea here. What a giant pancake this thing is. And drilling 4 holes and trying to attach some nubs, maybe some like steel dowel or something like that, and drilling them out and screwing to that and putting them in there. Egads. Or, like I said before, trying to get this to work. And if this worked, I mean, all you'd really have to do is move the jack shaft a little bit. It'd probably be going, woo, you know. So this is a 30-tooth sprocket, and I did see one that was made for a Broncco that I think was 42 teeth. That's 12 more teeth. But I'd like to get 60, you know. Oh yeah, and this is where this plate's screwed on. That's why I was wondering about that. But I don't think these would take the torque. You know, they're like aluminum. At least I don't know what the hell they are, to tell you the truth. If these would take the abuse, you know, of a sprocket. It might. I don't know. You know? It'd be sad if it ripped them apart, because then what would you do? Or here's another thought, if you can follow what I'm saying. I know it's kind of like confusing. But say this is a sprocket, and you drill these out big so that they go around this, and then you use this plate to hold them on. You know, then you'd have this kind of for girth rather than just a screw hole. You know, that could work. I just found the other one that I have. Kind of looks like this one, but this one says 60. I'm guessing it's 60 teeth. This one says 35, which I guess is a chain. But I don't see anything other than that. And if you put this one but of course I'm thinking about something like this rod to use as a spacer. You know, to cut little slices. This is too wide, but to stick in there so that the sprocket could ride on this. And yeah, I thought of this a long time ago, and I said like, that's too much screwing around. But I don't know any way to get around this except for to get a sprocket. It's just like it. It's 60 teeth, and they don't make one. Okay, that's kind of the idea. I only had so many screws and washers to set this up, and you can see right away how bogus it is. It may help if you had one in the middle. But you can see the washers are at an angle going over the sprocket, which isn't very cool. You know, I first tried it on top. Now I'm trying it underneath the sprocket. Actually, I can pull this whole thing out. Yeah. You can see the other side. You can see that there'll be many issues with this. Not so good, no. I tightened these up a little bit, and it's actually a little more substantial than you'd think. It wouldn't last like this, and these screws are just for mock-up. Now I've got the big sprocket on here, and one screw in, and it looks like there's enough shifting here that you could pretty nicely get the thing centered. And then you'd have to drill a hole there, here, and here. And hope that you get them exactly right, which could be done with this. Like I said, I don't know if these are, they're not really, you know, to mount a sprocket. They're to just keep the sprocket in place. The rubber wheels take all the action. Boy, it looks pretty good though, doesn't it? You know, you just have to get it centered, then drill 3 holes. The bearing holder in here measures about 1.25 inches. If you could get a sprocket that is tight to that, you'd kind of have something going for you, because you'd have the stability of that rather than, you know, that it could go like this. This guy's got a few sprockets, but they're all the same sizes. That's a 32 on top, 28, and a 30. Yeah, need bigger than that. Here's one that I was hoping would work. Aramichi. But these are much bigger. Those studs are much bigger, and it won't work. And here we have a new old stock. He's got 3 of them for $41. 40 teeth. That'd be 8 more, but not exactly what I'm looking for 41 bucks. But the measurements seem right. He's got those over here. Okay, I've kind of thought it over. I've looked at sprockets and thought of ideas and come up pretty short, but here's my first harebrained idea. Okay, I got this lined up right here. That'll screw in just fine. It's centered. And what I did with that screwed in is I found a drill bit that's equidistant around and kept going around. And boy, I mean, that looks pretty darn straight right there. And now, that one's lined up. We'll put this on here. I might put this back in here. Without moving anything. Hopefully. Now, I'll take my center punch. Damn, I gotta be fucking center. Excuse me, center. That looks pretty good.
Way off. Not even close.
Pretty good. Not perfect though.
Terrible.
It's pretty good too. I gotta drill those out. And I think I'm gonna use a Markham. That one looks good. That one looks off. And that one looks off.
Told ya.
Okay. I have to think of a way to make those look better. We still look like we're totally centered. Okay, it's the next day, and I kind of thought about it overnight, like what's going on with this. Using my noodle every once in a while. And I got this thing mounted up, vaguely centered up, and you'll notice that there is a gap between where it should be in the hub. And you got to take that into consideration for what I'm going to do next. And that is put it back on the bike and make sure that the sprocket here doesn't hit the swing arm. Looks like some good news here. That's unbelievable. It looks like there's plenty of room. This is the bushing that goes in there that sets where the wheel should be. I don't have the brake assembly and stuff in on this side, but that doesn't matter. We got a good 3/4 of an inch, and look it. And that's not even wonky. I think that'll work well. Okay, my plan to drill these, since you can see I'm kind of off center. I don't know how to get them on center. My eyes aren't good enough to get them on center. And you can see I tried twice, way off both times. It's okay to drill a small hole, and then I finally found these carbide bits that I have. And what I'll do with these is drill a small hole and then try to push it over onto center, so the next time I drill it'll be on center. Here's another thing my absent mind forgot, that I bought these locating punches or something. I can't remember what they're called. These go into a hole and will mark the center. The problem here is, though, I don't have a hole, and not even that ring, not even this thing, will provide a hole. Or maybe it will. Maybe I'll try that. Okay, this isn't really going to be that much of a help, the ring, I mean, and these punches, but it'll be more visual than looking at my pencil mark that I made for a circle. I can kind of look down this. Yeah, I like that better. This thing might skip too when I push on it. I don't know. It's Harbor Freight crap, but then again, so are these. I shouldn't damn Harbor Freight. Some of this stuff's pretty good. And this one we're going to have a problem because there's... the one that's there is pretty close to center. And that one's not bad. Okay, it's really only this one that was so far off. And then, like I said, we'll kind of scoot it over with a carbide bit. Alright, this morning I said to hell with it. I'm going to drill some holes. Because I can't figure this thing out. I drilled these 3 holes. The other one is one of these. This one is one of these. I made them to the same size that was this. And this, believe it or not, is a good spacer to go around here. And it's pretty straight. I'm actually kind of surprised. So, most people would say like, hey, just go with that. But no, I'm going to try to put in these stud things, and I guess they're going to be probably about like that. Okay, I threaded the screws through. They go through that black plate and stick through this sprocket, and here's the original sprocket. I got them centered. This is how they'd bolt in to the hub here. How about if I drilled holes, if I get this centered perfectly, which I think I can do, and then drilled holes and put like 6 of these bolts, or maybe even more, around the edges, right where the sprocket is. They fit in there pretty good. And, you know, some washers, and bolt those down. You know, how the hell would that go? I think that would be pretty good. And then I wouldn't have to think about nubs. I got this much space to work with where the black ring is out. That's where it attaches right here to the hub. I think that might work if I can center this thing up. That would be my bolt pattern. Alright, let me get you up to date. Yeah, it's been even longer than I've been procrastinating. And this is what I've come up with. You see a lot of lines and stuff like that because I have no idea what I'm doing. But I took the difference of the 2 rings here, which is like 4.5 millimeters, and I sketched them out. I made these lines going across, and then I measured from this one the difference out and made a mark right here. Then I also put these screws on to get a visual line up, and I took a screwdriver that the blade happened to be the same size and went all the way around, said like, oh, that feels pretty good, maybe not perfect, but you know. And now what I've done is I've drilled my 6 pilot holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I got to take these out to be whatever this size is. And then they'll bolt through. And hopefully I'll have a little bit of wiggle room to get this thing perfectly round, I hope. And I've also thought about putting a metal plate like between two as a backing that goes on the back here. I think I showed you that piece of metal before. But then again, I might edit half this shit out because it's going to be 5 hours long. To put a piece like that, you know, to connect the two. And that would hold the sprocket more too, but I don't know if it's going to be going into the area of the hub or not. Might not even need it. I don't know, but this is where we're at. And if you look at this side, it doesn't look so bozo compared to all that laying out business. Okay, these are the bolts that I want to use. Hey, they fit. I had to use all my dull drill bits. The thing now is, what this is supposed to do is go up like this, then, you know, some kind of washer over it. And then I was hoping to get a nylon on there, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. A nylon lock washer, that is. But I don't want them also to be long. So I like this length. So I think we just might go with lock washers. Will be the only choice. And we'll see how that works out. And right now this looks way off center. Yeah, it's going to grab about that much. Voila. So you got that much wiggle room with this, but they'll be clamped down, and you know, so now I can kind of get it like perfectly center, I hope. I got just enough nuts and just enough regular washers. I want locking washers. Alright, the nuts are on. It's semi-squared up, not perfectly. But let's see how it relates to the wheel. We might have another shock. That's not bad at all, if you can see in there. The nut and bolt assembly clears the hub just fine. And, oh, I didn't line up the holes here. Is that going to be a factor? No, I don't think so. Well, it's going to be something I'm going to have to do, get these to line up. Because I didn't even think about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. You might be able to see clearer now my idea for this metal piece. Cut it off right about here and drill 2 holes, and then it'll be holding against the sprocket for even more strength. I really do like that. I might have to go with longer screws, and since they're clearing the hub, they got all this distance here. I think that might be a good idea.
This episode of Woody's Garage is brought to you by Blows. We have no nuts and bolts, but lots of singing Christmas trees.
I went down to Blows, and they have the worst nut and bolt assortment you can believe. They'll have, like, you know, one package of 3 and you need 6, and there's only 1. But anyway, let's stop bitching. I got some wave washers for both these and the smaller inside ones. Yeah, wherever the other ones are. Oh, there they go. Another pack. 2 different sizes. I got longer ones of these that go for the middle and the hub there. They're just slightly longer, so that should be good. I had to get lock washers. I wanted to get nylocks, or the nylon locking nuts. And then I got these washers because I want to put them underneath the sprocket here, because I got to mount this thing. And these aren't going to be that thick. Maybe I can double them up. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that. But I don't know if you see my vision here, or if you... Oh yeah, I also got these things. These things in electrical supply. Hold conduits down, I guess. 1/2 inch. And, you know, I looked at a whole bunch of metal pieces to try to make these things that I want to make. And I said, oh, well, this thing stretch out to like 3 odd inches. And this is what it's like flattened out in the vise. Have a look. And these are going to go from here, and I drilled them out. Obviously I had to drill them out. A little over 5/16 or something. And they'll go from there to there, so that they kind of hold down the sprocket, and they also kind of will work like a tab. Possibly to keep the nut in place. Actually, they won't work like that. What am I talking about? But I do have these wave washers, which work as locking, and these regular lock washers that I'm going to use. So I'm going to use 2 sets, so hopefully it won't move. So layer 1, the nubs, which go into the holes. Now the screws. Hang on. These have got to be lined up. Then this is going to sit over this. And this is where it's going to create a gap right here, which I'm not too fond of. Oh. Now I'm hoping you can see the gap down there between the sprocket inside here and the sprocket outside. I want to fill that with some washers, which is going to be tricky. That's why I bought those other washers. Alright, the spacing for the 2 washers under there looks pretty good, but my bolts are going to come up short. There's not enough there. And I wanted to buy another set. They just didn't have them. They had 5. I needed 6. They had 5 total. All of lows, all of blows. Okay, here we are about a week later. Yes. You can see how psyched I am to do this project here. Anyway, what I got, working model right now, is a bolt, a wave washer, 2 washers being used as spacers for the difference between the 2 sprockets. So as I tighten them down, it's got something to tighten against. I think those are just about right. Then we have this safety piece that I made to go between 2 bolts to keep it in place. And then we have a regular lock washer. I couldn't find any locking nuts. I bought some, but they were American. These are metric. And the nut. And it looks like I just put it on. It's snug, but not totally tight. It looks pretty much centered. These are the 4 bolts to go into the hub itself. Right now I just got nuts on them so they don't fall out every time I turn the thing over. Yeah, so I'm going to try to tighten these down so that it's even across. You can already see like this one is like tightening and kind of wanting to slide off that way. That's not good. So, I don't know, we just got to see how it goes. Okay, we got them all tight. Let's see what it looks like. It's funny, no matter which way you hold it and try to look to see if it's like looks centered, it always looks like it's off, but then you flip it around and it looks like it's off where it was on before. So I don't know, that may be way off. I don't really know, but it looks tight as a bitch, like it's not going to go anyplace. So the thing is, when I mount it on the rim, we can always loosen these and budge it around a little bit. At least I hope we can. Okay, we got the wheel up here. Now we got to take off the nuts and thread them into this. Somehow when I was putting this on, I was thinking like, uh-oh, I should have put these on first, really, before I tightened everything down. But I think I got lucky because all these seem to be lined up. Geez, it looks really straight too. They're all this screwing around. Could it actually be right? Stay tuned. There you have it. Let's mount it up and see if it things clear and stuff. Okay, the wheel is loosely in there. It's actually kind of tight, but there's no chain or anything on it. Everything clears. Everything, I think, looks good. I don't see any reason why that should not work. Will it hold up? No, better. It looks like we got it to the right length. That's amazing. And I had another master link on one section of the chain. Is it the right size? I hope so. Haha! No. It will not fit. Oh, that chunk of chain must have been a different size. Okay, let's see if we can come up with another master link. In the meantime, you can see it kind of works there. The wheel is pushed all the way forward, so can you see that it works here? The wheel is pushed all the way forward, so we can adjust back to tighten up the chain. Will the ratio be right? That's kind of what I want to find out right now, if it's even close. So I'm going to look for a master link. Okay, I think I found one. I always wonder if these have a front or a back. Well, it does now. Get on that. There we go. Now the direction of the wheel going this way, you want to put on the clip this way, so it's kind of like forces it that way instead of that way. Although I don't think it makes any difference, but that's what they say is the right thing to do. Yay. Okay, now I don't know really jack shit about ratios, but basically the engine should make 6 turns around to 1 turn of the wheel, and right now I bet it's going to be way off because of this one here. But let's see what happens. Actually, just observe. I'm not going to mark anything right now because I didn't plan for it. Okay. I just want to see it turn, I guess. Whee! And the way it is right now, it's going to be very low geared, which is, you know, fast out of the hole, probably top speed of about 10 miles an hour. So this one's got to come down. I got to try to figure out a ratio here. I have other sprockets, so this is certainly interchangeable. Hopefully I don't have to buy anything. And that will be the next step. But I think I'll post this right now because it took me so damn long just to get that sprocket on the back.
Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?